Yo, what is good, everybody? This is your boy Darkstar, and I am back with another one. And today, pretty much, I'm back because I'm addressing something from one of my last videos where apparently someone made a comment saying something along the lines that me and Johnny don't like female superheroes, out there whooping ass. Right. Never once said that I don't like female superheroes. I don't like I don't like strong female superheroes in movies at all. Only thing I said is how the characters are written and how they're portrayed is the issue I have. That's the issue I have. Give me just a second. Let me see if my God Johnny's still coming on. Let me see if he hit the link already. Give me a second. Hold on. Okay. Just had to let him know I'm live right now. So any second, I'm just waiting on him to hit the link, and then we'll go ahead and get this started. Which, by the way, let me also post a link for y'all. That way, if anybody wants to come up and kind of weigh in on this topic, they can do so. So I went on ahead and put the link in the chat. So if anybody wants to weigh in on this at any given time, feel free to do so. With that being said, yeah, I don't mind having a discussion. I mean, I've even clearly said that, like, in the last video, I clearly said Wonder Woman and Storm were some of my favorite female characters. Hell, I wouldn't even have an issue if they did an X-Men movie and they had Storm leading the X-Men. That really would not be an issue. Because even canonically, she has been the leader of the X-Men numerous amount of times. So I really wouldn't have an issue with it. Not only that, but just overall, Storm's like a fan favorite. And I can't think of one dude that does not like Storm, or let alone damn near almost any of the female characters that are in the X-Men. I mean, granted, sometimes we roast Shadowcat, but we like Shadowcat. I at least like Shadowcat. I can't speak for everybody else, but I like Shadowcat. Yeah, I think the character's pretty legit. You know, but like I said, I have no issue with female superheroes. None at all. Hell, the first Wonder Woman movie was probably one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. It's definitely in my top 10. You know, so there's no issue with female superheroes in movies. Hang on a second, everybody. But yeah, like I said, they're like, again, when it comes to Captain Marvel, I've even said at one point Captain Marvel used to be a favorite character of mine until, again, Kelly Sue DeConnick got her hands on her, and it was a wrap. Pretty much just now the character is damaged goods. Because again, we're in an age where I guess when it comes to feminism, it's a little too extreme to the point where let me just break it down like this. Feminism went from being where women were as capable as men and we can work, hand in hand with each other. That's how it started. Then it went to this whole thing where now it's like, oh, there can't be any such thing as girl bosses anymore. It went to that. And then it went to, oh, now I'm better than men. Yeah. And that's kind of where, like, I kind of draw the line. Because especially when it comes to superhero movies, it's like this. Regardless if the character is male or female, you shouldn't have to shit on the other people, on the other gender, just to put the other character over. I'm not with that. I've never been with that. I've been totally against that. and that's the issue I have with how female superheroes are done in movies. So I have no issue with female superheroes because, again, as I posted on the thumbnail, I had to post the X-Men because if y'all read the comics, y'all know majority of the most powerful members of the X-Men are females. Yes, majority of the most powerful X-Men are females, and they are all badass within their own right. Hey, what's going on, Dr. Maggie? Salute, bro. Salute. So yeah, that's why I thought that whole comment with that dude talking about about me and Mole Boy Johnny having an issue with Silver Surfer being gender swapped. First off, that version of Silver Surfer that you were talking about, Juno, was only on 4 issues of a freaking run, a Hercules run that took place in a whole different Earth, and it was more space related. And if I'm not mistaken, she was like the daughter of Zeus or some shit like that. So, yeah, that really holds no fucking weight as far as like justifying a female Silver Surfer when she only appeared 4 fucking times. And obviously the character didn't work, so they kind of threw it in the trash. And that's what they do with comic books a lot of times. Especially in like the 70s and the 80s. You'll see a character appear. Sometimes they appear only one time, and then they throw them out. Why? Because a lot of times they're testing the characters. That's why you always had those books back in the 60s and 70s, like Amazing Fantasy and Tales of Suspense, or like Star Spangled Squadron. It was like All Stars, Star Spangled, something like that. It's how they got Captain America. I forgot the name of the book. I forgot, but when I come across it, I'll remember. Right. Exactly. And Spider-Girl and Supergirl, well, Supergirl's already a badass character in her own right. I just hated how they did her on the TV show because they just had to make her better than Superman. For what? Like, what was the purpose of it? I mean, granted, even in the comics, they actually did at one point make her more powerful than Superman, and then it got retconned. And I know, like, they had a scientific reason why. It had nothing to do with, oh, let's just make her, better than Superman because she's a woman. No, there was a scientific reason and it was a plausible reason. It had something to do with like how the fact that when she was sent from Krypton, she was already a teenager, so she was able to absorb the solar rays a lot faster than Superman due to the fact that when she had her power, she was basically in her peak. So, yeah, that was the reason why. But and that, I mean, and then Spider-Girl, dude, freaking Spider-Girl was badass. That book was badass. It was a damn shame that book ended. I was actually kind of mad it ended because, I mean, again, she was the daughter of Peter and Mary Jane Parker, and she basically wanted to take up the mantle of Spider-Man since Peter couldn't be Spider-Man. He ended up losing his leg to, I think it was the Green Goblin, and he ended up becoming a police officer. Yeah, that was good writing, facts. That was overall good writing, period. Just overall good writing. And I was pissed when they got rid of that book. Yes, exactly. No, that's always been my point, is that people are missing good writing, And that's why when it comes to how a lot of these female characters are written, a lot of people don't take to it because of how the characters are written. And this is something that I've been saying, and I've stayed consistent on it. And I'm never going to stray away from that. That is the actual fucking reason, is the writing. The writing is the issue. All right? Because again, no issue with female superheroes, and I'll give you a prime example, and this is something that I had to bring into that I put in the actual description of the video because it ties in. And this is like a case in point. She-Hulk. And Cloud, I was a huge fan of She-Hulk. You already know this. I'm a huge fan of She-Hulk. But what the fuck was that Disney Plus did? What the fuck was that? All right, babe. Yeah, what the actual fuck was that? that writing was just atrocious. And I get they wanted to make it into like a comedy, but yeah, it's only a comedy if your writing is funny. And none of that writing was funny. You know, it was I don't know. It was just the writing was just ass. And then the one line that she said in the first episode is what completely turned me off to the character. Was the whole thing when she basically tried to say that she controls her anger better than Bruce Banner. At that point, I stopped reading the book because I stopped watching the show because it just made me understand that they never read any of the books. They do not understand the character at all, not just her, but they don't understand the character of the Hulk. And this is what happens when you have a lot of people that write a lot of this stuff that have never read the source material. This is what happens when you have people that write books, that write these shows, and just aren't fans. I'm sorry, but you have to be a fan of what you're writing in order for the writing to translate on screen. You know, you have to be a fan of what you're writing. You know, and this whole thing when it comes to a gender over good writing is just what the fuck. Yep, exactly. I don't even want to get, dude. I already did a video on self inserts. I'm not even gonna get on that. I already did a video on that like months ago. I already did a video on that. I'm not touching that one again because that was just, ugh. I don't know. I'm not even gonna get on it, man. You know, and it's like it's when you like. This is what I'm gonna say. I think maybe a small self insert wouldn't be that much of an issue if the character was actually written good. If the character was actually somewhat relatable. You know, if it was actually a character that some people can get behind. But no, this wasn't it. This was not it. I'm sorry. None of those self inserts were it. Case in point, I am not Starfire. Oh, why the fuck did I bring that up? Why did I bring up I'm not Starfire? I'm sorry, that book was fucking horrible. I actually read some of that shit. Oh my god, I would, if I had kids, I would, oh my god. That book was god awful. It was god awful. I'm just gonna be honest. Yeah, that is true. Case in point, Vita Ayala. Vita Ayala is the prime example of that. That's why I like when it comes to a lot of her stuff, I really cannot get behind a lot of it. Like at all. I can't. And it's not it's not a lack of trying, it's just I just can't get behind a lot of her writing. I'm being honest about that. I cannot get behind a lot of her writing. You know, and I've tried to give her a chance. Like it's one of those things when it comes to comic book writers, I don't try to write them off right away. I try to give them a chance. You know, I at least try to do that. I at least try to give them an out, and I just couldn't because the writing was just that bad. Like I'm sorry, I'm one of those people where like I'm big on the whole thing with good writing. I'm really big on it. That's just kind of my thing. You know, I'm a stickler for that because how the hell are you supposed to sell? How the hell do you get people to talk about your book if the writing is just trash? You know, how do you expect people to buy what you're selling if what you're selling is ass? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't expect people to just automatically buy your book. Sure, you can have good artwork. Facts. Facts, Derpy. Facts. Yeah. No, exactly. It's beside the point. Because at the end of the day, writing has to resonate with the target audience. If you're not resonating with your target audience, what's the fucking point? And my boy just arrived just in time. Let me go ahead and bring my special guest on here today. We got our boy Johnny D. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? So I've been waiting for like 10 minutes. Like, when is this fool gonna send me the link? Because I'm looking at the messages and I'm like, oh, he sent it to me 4 messages ago.
I was like, I was gonna be like, bro, I did send you the link. What the fuck?
Oh, like I'm such a creature of habit. Usually the link is the very last thing. So like that's just what I was waiting for. And when I went to go in, I was like, hey man, when you gonna send that link? I looked up, I'm like, oh.
Ah, my bad, bro. I should.
No,
I should.
that some of that's my fault. I'm not good with technology.
It's all good, man. So yeah, man. So far, pretty much, I already covered the whole thing with that whole fucking dumbass comment that person wrote.
Oh, that copy and paste comment. Oh, dude, I see that so much.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, so you didn't watch the video. Like, dude, because did I not clearly say, like, Storm was one of my favorite X-Men characters? Did I not clearly say that I liked the first Wonder Woman movie? I clearly stated that, right?
And I'll take it a step further. I like both Wonder Woman movies. I'm disappointed by the lack of a third. And it's like, yeah, dude, I've got a Storm action figure on my wall right now. Little Lego. I'm looking at her. I'm looking at a little Lego Storm right now.
And it's funny that you say that because right now I'm looking at my wall of posters and stuff. I'm literally looking at a Wonder Woman poster right now, like old school Wonder Woman.
Yeah, dude, I remember somebody pulled that one with me when it was like I was bashing on Captain Marvel, right? And it's like, you just hate strong women. I'm like, and I think you even saw this one because it was on comicbook.com, which we're both a
Oh
part of.
shit!
And it was like, you just hate strong women. I'm like, dude, I own 50 Wonder Woman pops. I don't hate strong women. I just hate robotic blocky acting.
Exactly. Exactly, dude. That's all it is for me, man. I hate crappy acting and I just hate shitty writing. I mean, is there a crime for hating shitty writing?
Oh, that's what like The Witcher, the end of it, man. The end of this most recent season, the writing just got weirder and crappier.
That's what I heard, man.
As
And
I started it, I'm like, okay, this feels okay. This feels like it's supposed to. This is gonna be a good finale for Cavill. And then as the story kept going, I'm like, why are they doing this? Why?
dude,
Why? There's a whole
why do you
bunch of
think Cavill
whys.
left the project? Why do you think Cavill left the project, dude?
I don't get why
Because
nobody else is leaving.
yeah, well, because at the end of the day, other people want money. At the end, like with Cavill, he stands on principle, dude. That's one thing that I respect about the dude. That I
But see,
respect about him is he stands
even
on
in
principle.
even in terms of business, the way I'm looking at it is like, if I'm attached to this disaster, people aren't going to want to hire me because this last thing I did was a disaster. It's like me, I don't want to be attached to a disaster, but also I'm looking at the fan, like, and I think that's something where Hollywood doesn't always get. I think that their idea of fandom comes strictly from Twitter, and maybe that's not the best, because if they realize how much people were on Cavill's side, it's like, hey, if I walk because he walked, I'll be on a project just because he's on it. Like, people are going to want
Right.
me by association. But like I said, I also think people really get stuck in pocket holes of the internet.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, that's a good observation, Cloud. Good observation. Have you ever noticed that with a lot of these shows? When you get to season 3, it starts to get a little fucking weird. Have you ever noticed that?
I
And I
mean,
can think of
I
I can
can
think of a
understand it formulaically because it's like in the intro you have to really hook everybody, and then once you've got them, you can kind of go in the direction you want to go. So I sort of get it, but also it's like, don't do it at the expense of the show.
facts. Because I mean, we've seen it happen with Arrow. We saw it happen with Arrow. It somewhat happened with the Flash, but not really. I think what it was with the third season of Flash. Well, actually, the third season of the Flash was just kind of weird. It happened with Legends of Tomorrow because that's the way the end of the second season was badass, and then the third season, I don't know what the fuck was going on with that shit. It just recently happened with the Mandalorian.
And see, that's where I get defensive because I'm actually a big defender of that final season. And like, and I'm not trying to bust anybody's balls here, but I do think there are some times when people tend to write fan fiction in their brain. They really, really want this to happen, and sometimes when it doesn't happen, they feel like the thing is bad. I'm like, you're doing that because you're putting it through some of the wrong filters. Don't go on the ride you're trying to go on. Go on the ride they're trying to take you on, and you'll enjoy it different. And I found that out with myself with Legend of Korra. When I watched it the first time, I was like, whoa, I don't like this. And when I watched it the second time, and I just kind of went with it because I already knew where it was going, I was like, this is really fucking good. Like, I realized a lot of my hangups were the things because it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But it's like maybe it doesn't need to do what it wants you to do. Maybe it's got its own thing. And like I have a lot of faith in Dave Filoni. Like that's I'm not saying I'd take a bullet for him, but I would push somebody in the way of that bullet.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on.
But yeah, I'm gonna hold out faith that everything it's building up is gonna go someplace that people are gonna be like, you know what, this is cool, this is fine.
Yeah.
Same
And I
thing
agree with that.
same thing with
Yeah.
Book of Boba. Because a lot of
Yeah.
haters on Book of Boba, like why wasn't it exactly like Mandalorian season 1? For the same reason, because to me, man, Aquaman sucked because we've seen that story a couple other times in a couple other media. That's why the first Aquaman movie sucked. I was like, this is just that Justice League episode without the Justice League. It's not that special. This is Throne of Atlantis without Wonder Woman. It's not that special. And it's
Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
you don't want to see the same thing over and over again the way you think you do. And to
Yeah.
me, it was like the fact that this thing changed the script. I'm like, dude, I'm rolling with all of this shit because you know what? A lot of people fucking hated the Ewoks. They fucking hated the Ewok shit on this little kids show. There's this little blue Ewok Jedi, and people are falling in love with him who haven't even watched the show. It's
Um,
like people love Ewoks, man, but it didn't start that way.
yeah. I don't know, dude. I always thought Ewoks were badass. What the fuck? I always was like, bro, Ewoks are the shit. I'm gonna
But
fucking what it says, man.
I think we were kids when we were introduced to Ewoks, so we loved them. But like the adults were like, "Why are these teddy bears here?" And it's like, first of all, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
These
And I
guys,
agree with that.
these guys can braid hair like a mother, so I don't know what you got against them.
Right?
They they
Bro.
bu- they built a treehouse like none other. Like who doesn't want to live in an Ewok village treehouse?
And let's not also forget that the Ewoks actually defend. They're on my cards, babe. Let's not forget the Ewoks actually defended themselves against the fucking alliance, against the Empire. Let's not forget they defended themselves against the Empire. Let's not
Yeah,
forget they managed to do it successfully. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Ewoks are the shit.
yeah, dude, and I love this the symbology of it of like, you can be just this tiny little creature with stone and stick against an empire of machinery and just guns and everything at you, and it's like, but if you are in the right,
Yeah.
if the light of good is with you, you're gonna fucking win. And it's like
Um,
that's what I love is just like because originally, the stories it was supposed to be all Wookiees,
yeah.
which we
Oh,
eventually did get to see in episode 3. But
yeah. And
originally, yeah, it was
FYI, oh, sorry, Johnny. And FYI, Derpy, I am gonna watch The Lost Kingdom. I am gonna watch Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. Just FYI.
oh, with
Yeah.
abuser Amber Heard. No, I'm skipping.
Oh no, they don't have Amber Heard in it at all.
What has she been removed?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, dude. They have like if you watch the trailers, they do not show Amber Heard at all. Like at all.
Well, see, but I think that's just the trailers. My understanding is she is supposed to be in the movie itself.
No, I heard they cut her from the movie, dude.
That'd be nice, right?
And even
I'm
if she
still
is in the movie, like she only gets like what 2-3 minutes screen time.
It's still a company paying an abuser that's like they knew she like to me she should have been cut during the Snyder cut. He should have been the one to cut her and
I
replace her.
agree.
It's like, dude, you had the time and the money. Like all the evidence was out.
Oh,
Like, yes,
boo.
the court trial hadn't happened yet, but the evidence was out.
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it anyway, just because I want to see Black Manta and Aquaman go down. But that's the only reason. Other than that,
And I
fucking
still don't
important.
like the Black Manta actor calling it clown work. It's like, dude, here's my thing. Like, let's say I were to become an actor tomorrow, right? And somebody offers me a role in the Fast and Furious franchise, which I look down my nose upon. I have a choice to make. I can either choose to approach this respectfully and take the money, or I can look my nose down on it and pass up the opportunity. But to me, taking the money and then disrespecting the fans by saying this thing you love is terrible and I only did it for the money, it's like you're kind of a shitty person at that point.
That's a fair point. That actually is a fair point.
And,
I agree.
and it's just like I'm tired of acting like, because Anthony Hopkins did it, and it's just like that's a
Bro,
constant thread. And I understand it's different acting.
yeah, I was gonna say that shit pissed me off when Anthony Hopkins did that shit. I was pissed.
And as I understand, it's a different kind of acting, and that's cool. But at the same time, as an outsider, I feel like if you can bring the same, like when you're in a room and everything feels real and you're very in the moment, I feel like it's almost easier to bring that out versus when you're standing in a big green dome with
Yeah,
people on dots and you still have to bring that same energy like it's real, like you're there. It's like, to me, that seems harder just as a guy from the outside. And I'm like,
yeah,
but yeah, it made me mad, especially because I mean he's a great fucking actor. His
yeah.
performance in that was fantastic. His "You're unworthy" line. Oh, dude, it freaking moved me from the first Thor movie, and I'm
Dude,
just like, this is so fucking good, man. It's like, why do you have to? If you think so little of it, why did you have to take the role? I guess, and it's like I don't like it when people do that, and I don't like how acceptable it's being. I feel like if you're gonna shit on it, Jennifer Lawrence, don't be a
yeah.
part of
Oh my god! Don't even bring that bitch up. Yeah, I don't even want to bring that bitch up. Yeah, hold on. My question is here. Hold on. Let me ask this. Let me answer this real quick. Here's my question: since the animated film got canned, how would Kingdom Come live in live action? How would the Kingdom Come do in live action? Would it be one for one or twisted? And who would you cast?
Oh, was the animated canned? I'm just hearing about that for the first time now.
I think they canned it for Christ on Infinite Earths.
Ah,
That's probably why they canned it. Which I mean, that does make sense. I mean, it sucks that they canned it now. If they were to do a live action, first off, I'd be all for it. Now, as far as who I would cast as who, I'm already saying it right now. Like, I would definitely cast Cavill as Superman, as old man Superman. That's an easy one. Now, as far as who I would cast as Batman, that would be a tough one. Because like Batman's like one of those characters you don't just cast any actor in it. You know what I mean?
and the thing is like he has to be old and broken, but still look like he can kick your ass. And it's like, how many people can really pull that off while still pulling off the Bruce Wayne thing? Because there's a
Ooh,
lot of.
I got it. I got it. Josh Brolin.
Mm,
Yes, Thanos. I said it. Cast Thanos as Batman.
mm.
I can see him playing Batman because at one point he was originally supposed to play Batman in the DCU, but he pulled out last second, and then they casted Ben Affleck. I mean, I would cast him. That's what I would go with. Now, as far as Wonder Woman, ooh, no, but that's the point. I was gonna say, but Derpy, but that's the point. Is that in Kingdom Come, Batman's kind of old. That's the point.
Yeah, Batman is like his back was broken by Bane like 20 years prior to this point.
Yeah,
He has
yeah,
a
that's
he
the
has a
thing.
suit on him that lets him move. So it's like you have to find somebody who, like, you look at them and it's like they're old and broken. They're just an old guy in a wheelchair almost, but
Yeah,
they have to have that Clint Eastwood thing. Like Clint Eastwood's so small and frail, but when he looks at
right.
But when he looks at you, you're like, "Hey, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're the one who was in the wrong, but I'm sorry." And it's like you have to have somebody who has that. And I feel like, yeah, maybe Josh Brolin is one of those guys. You could see him hobbling around, old, broken, and but you wouldn't want to get too close to him just in case.
Exactly. That part. Exactly. Because even though Josh Brolin, you can have him looking old, but at the same time, he still has that look where you say the wrong thing, he'll fuck you up.
Now, all right, back to Kingdom Come, because I want to say that I found out later that the version of Kingdom Come I read had like that the ending wasn't original, that was added on later, where they're in Booster Gold's diner, and it's like um, at this point, Superman and Wonder Woman are a couple. They have a little meeting with Bruce at the
Yep.
table. I want
Mm-hmm.
to say that was an add-on, but there's that line he says in there when, because like they go to announce that they're pregnant, and before they can do it, he's like, "You're pregnant," and they're like, "How did you know?" He's like, "Well, for an ageless Amazon, you're kind of putting on weight," and
Yeah,
he's
I
just.
remember that. That shit made me. I died laughing reading that shit.
But the thing to remember is ageless Amazon. So
Yeah.
whoever plays Wonder Woman has to like basically be 38. Like
Yeah.
she has to look in her 30s and in her 50s somehow at the same time, and it's like I don't know, man.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's a tough one.
And the chick from Bones is one of the I think she'd be in top 10, but I don't know if I'd put her in the top.
Mm, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I'd put her there.
She could
I think she'd be good in for the running.
I think
I
she's got
don't.
those Linda Carter eyes, and then she's got the
Yeah,
strong jaw that Alex Ross draws with.
yeah. I mean, and I can say this: if none of y'all have seen any of Alex Ross's drawing, which I know some of y'all probably have, if y'all haven't, Google his artwork, and you'll see what we're talking about. That dude's artwork is just on some other shit, and you'll see why I said you can have Henry Cavill still play an older Superman. You know, all you really got to do is maybe do a little bit of aging makeup, not too much, and then do the gray around the sides of the hair, and there you go.
Yeah, gray temples, and there you go.
Yep, that's all you got to do.
And
Because even, huh?
I was going to say, I want to say about just Alex Ross real quick as an artist. One of the great things about him is he does like realism, and he's one of the artists that's not afraid to use like live action models. He's very open about
Yep.
the fact that he will take pictures of people. And there's this great interview with Neil Adams where he
May
keeps
he rest in
referring
peace.
one of the greatest, and yes, rest in peace. And he starts talking about drawing and everything, and like his idea of tracing, like us is tracing, it's paper over paper, you're literally tracing. His idea of tracing is anything you don't pull out of your brain. So if you're looking at a picture, if you're looking at a statue, if you're looking at a model, in his brain that's tracing, right?
Interesting.
But his thing is like he doesn't care. He's like, all those guys in the old school, they used to do this, they used to do that, and like he's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it comes out of your brain. All it matters is that it looks good when it's on paper. And
Exactly.
I say that just in case there's any artists out there listening. It's like, man, if you got to look at one of your action figures, if you got to look at one of your friends who's, he's on the football team, he's really athletic, and if you got to look at um, if you got to look at a picture out of a magazine, whatever it is, if you have to do this, that's okay, man. There's certain
Yeah.
drawings I've done that, like, one thing I've started getting better at drawing is I would draw action figures.
Yeah,
That
I used to do that shit too when I was in high school. I didn't always just look at comics. Sometimes I would get like an action figure, set an action figure on the table, and I would just draw a little action figure, as far as like for the movement, because that was one thing I was always weak at, was trying to figure out different, positions, how to do certain panels, but how am I going to get my characters to look this way? How am I going to get them to look that way? So
right.
I would use an action figure, set it on the table, and I would go off that. And that's what used to help me out all the time when I was working on my own comic books back when I was in high school. You know,
And it's like, yeah, so just if there's anybody out there who draws, it's like, man, it's okay. There are times if you lean on something too much, it can become a crutch. This is true, but
yep,
you know yourself, you know how good you are. It's like if you got to use a picture or two, man, do it. Because like Alex Ross is the best in the biz, and he does
that,
it.
yep, that's what he does, man. And I've actually seen actually there was a book I actually found in I think it was Barnes and Noble one day. I was just kind of just messing around, just kind of looking around at different comic book stuff, and I actually came across that whole book where they actually had his artwork, where it had like a whole thing of poster of his artwork, and it even showed his process of how he, does his whole portraits and everything. It was crazy. Yeah, it's real crazy how he does it. Like he just has a model, do the certain pose, and then he just gets to drawing. Yeah, it's crazy. And he even had it in the book where he took a picture of the artist, so that way you can see a side by side of how he did the pictures. And hell no, I would shoot you on sight for this one. Hell no. Not fucking Bruce Campbell as Superman. Hell no.
Sandra Bullock is Wonder Woman.
Tom Cruise is Batman. No, 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 I had to do that. No, I know you were fucking around, bro. Go ahead, Johnny.
I'm almost willing to co-sign Sandra Bullock as Wonder Woman, except I think she'd be a better Lois.
Agreed. I can go with that, even though, yeah, even though only thing
immediately in that story.
Only thing I would say is, yeah, pretty much she'd only be there for like one scene, and then she'd be dead.
And you know what? I feel like with Sandra Bullock, that's all you need. Just a glimpse, dead.
Damn. That's cold-blooded, bro. Yeah, but yeah, man, I would be down for a Kingdom Come movie if they said they were gonna do a live action one. I'd be down for it. But I mean, it's like I was saying the other day with them rebooting the DC universe and stuff, and how they recasted basically the entire Superman crew. Which, by the way, I don't give a shit what nobody says. I said it once, I'll say it again. I love the fucking casting. Love the casting. The casting is spot on. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all gotta say.
I'm not planning to watch it, but I still agree with you. I mean, fucking Maisel. Oh, dude. Like, there was, I don't know who out there has seen The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but there are so many fantastic performances in that thing. Tony Shalhoub is amazing. Like, Alex Borstein pretty much became my favorite female actor. Like, she's now number one because of that show.
I've been a fan of Alex Borstein ever since she was on Mad TV, bro.
Oh no, dude. I've loved her since Mad TV, but like she made it to number one. Like there is no Julia Roberts, no Dame Judi Dench. None of them to me are better actors than Abo.
Really, not Judy? Really better than Judi Dench? Wow.
Yeah, I'm no Julie Andrews. Like, dude, Maggie Smith. I put her above Maggie Smith. Became number two.
Oh, whoa! God damn! No, we not gonna do that. No, we not gonna disrespect Maggie Smith. We not gonna diss Maggie Smith. Not in this house.
Maggie
bro.
Smith, number two.
We are not gonna freaking put Maggie Smith down, bro. Hell no. I'm fucking with you, man. You already know how I am with that, dude. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm just fucking with you, man.
But yeah, like, dude, like everybody on that show was amazing. But as I'm watching Maisel, I'm like, yeah, dude, because like she's so pushy and in your face, but you love her at the same time. And I'm like, that's Lois Lane all day. Like that's the only way she doesn't go getting shanked when she's pushing people for information, for stories. I'm like, Lois, you are annoying. I would have pushed you off a building too.
Yes, because I'm not gonna lie. There are times when I read Lois Lane in the comics, I would want to push her off a building or something half the time. And you know what? That is a fair point. That's actually a good point. That's a fact that some people don't know. Is that David Cornsweet actually is Jewish, and the irony behind that is that the creators of Superman are Jewish.
Oh shit! Most of those old school guys were Jewish. Stan,
Yep.
Jack, Ditko,
Yep.
I think was Jewish.
I think so.
Because
Yeah.
also it was like it was a Jewish publishing company, so a lot of it was like nepotism and friends and family. So it was like, yeah, they're Jews, and then the fact that they were the ones pushing to get into World War II. Joe Simon and Jack Kirby created Captain America
Okay. Yep.
to go to war with the Nazis because America wouldn't go to war with the Nazis.
Actually, at one point, Jake Gyllenhaal was in the running for Batman. At one point, he really was. No bullshit.
I mean, dude, I'm going to piss some people off because I know a lot of people love this movie, but Robert Pattinson, like, people want to talk shit about George Clooney, but the thing is, I would much rather fight George. I would much rather fight Robert Pattinson than George Clooney, and I'm talking about right now, like peak prime Pattinson versus old raggedy ass Clooney. I think Clooney's gonna mess me up, and I think I got a good shot against precious little pretty boy who's because like when he tried to punch that glass when he's like when he's like in the trailer and he says something to I guess the Riddler or whatever, and he goes to punch the glass and his dainty little wrist kind of just bounces off of it. I'm like, dude, I've been locked up with fucking 130-pound guys who slam their whole fist into inch proof plexiglass like it's nothing.
Jesus.
And I'm like, you got these padded gloves and you're too afraid to let loose. Hit the fucking glass, you pansy ass. And like I
Yeah.
love any shot I was ever gonna watch that movie went out the window when I saw that. And I'm like, George Clooney, you are now second worst. Congratulations. I will pinch your nipple gladly before I will watch this Robert Pattinson crap.
Oh wow. No comment. All I gotta say, man, is that for me, it was just more the story I liked. As far as like him as Batman, I know a lot of people try to say, oh, they try to put him on a high pedestal, say, oh, dude, he was probably one of the best. I would disagree with that, honestly. If anything, and this is gonna piss people off when I say it, Ben Affleck was still a way better Batman than him. I don't give a shit what nobody says. You can get pissed off at me for it, but it's just fact.
I'll say it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The look goes a long way.
Yep.
If you got the look, even if I don't fucking like you, and there's a lot of people I don't like, if you got the look, I'm gonna let you slide.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest. If because it's like, let me ask you this question: which version of Batman are you going to be more scared of? Pattinson's Batman or Affleck's Batman? If you were standing in a room with those two Batman, who are you more worried about that's going to fuck you up worse?
Yeah.
Who you think is going to do more damage to you, Pattinson or Ben Affleck? And be honest with yourself on this one.
And dude, I would almost put that for damn near every Batman. Like Christian Bale, when he was like fully jacked up for the third one, all right, maybe he's something to worry about. But like the rest of them, I feel like Val Kilmer, if he has a gun, you give that motherfucker a 6-shooter, now I'm worried. But beyond that, I'm like, but versus, because I remember this interview with what's his name, Matt Damon, and he's talking about Ben Affleck, and he's like, he's bigger than people think he is, and I'm like, Matt Damon, you're pretty big your fucking self.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Matt, they're both pretty big dudes because like Ben Affleck is like I think 6'4".
6'4", yeah.
Yeah, and just imagine being 6'4", being roughly about 220, 230, and you're pretty jacked. Nah, I'm not fighting that dude. I'm 6'1", and I'm like 270. I already know I'm not gonna fight that dude, especially if the motherfucker is Batman. I'm just saying, I'm not fighting that dude. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
not
and
doing it.
like he is to me probably the most physically intimidating Batman. And like people want to think it's weird because like I guess they focus on his douchey face and they don't actually realize that there's a whole ass human body attached to that. I'm like, dude,
Right.
he's the size of Dwayne Johnson, like in terms of height
Yeah.
and like shoulder. Like he's not as fucking jacked because he doesn't take his fucking thing that serious, but like he's the size of a fucking pro wrestler, man. He's the size of a
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. And even then, like, what was I gonna say? If you really pay attention, you watch the movies. He's actually taller than Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill stands like he's like what 6'1".
Yeah, he's about 6'1", 6'2", I would imagine.
Yeah, they're about the same height. No, actually, no. Ben Affleck actually stands taller, but I know he has to slouch a little bit just to freaking make himself look intimidating. One, two, so that way he doesn't look taller than Superman. Because canonically, Superman is actually taller than Batman. Not by a lot, by like an inch or two.
I do love that. I don't know if this is how it was in the Darwin Cook novel
Mm-hmm.
or book, but in the animated movie, they made a deliberate choice to make Wonder Woman taller than Superman.
Yep.
Like it was there because like when you look at the special features, they're like, well, we wanted, Superman so much more powerful. We really wanted Wonder Woman to feel more powerful, so they made her taller. Wonder Woman was, of course, voiced by Lucy Lawless.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And like, yeah, dude, but when she stands, because she's sitting down on the desk the whole time, then she stands up over him. I was like, oh, and they made her like probably, if you were to think of it in terms of like real life, she was probably 6 inches taller than him, dude. And that's the only time you really see anybody taller than Superman. Most of the time, that dude is,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're taller than him, it's because you're one of those like atom smasher freaks.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a little. I don't know. I just thought that just the whole thing with Ben Affleck being like the tallest Batman, and motherfuckers is like, oh, I'd be more scared of Pattinson's Batman than Ben Affleck. I'm like, really? I would make it the other way around. And then also, I saw a video. I was gonna watch it today, sometime today, where they said basically the title of the video was "Stop Making Batman Realistic," and I kind of have to agree with that because it really just takes away it just takes away from Batman being as intimidating as he is, being like a larger than life character. I feel like it takes away from the character when we try to make Batman look realistic in the movies and stuff. Like, at some point, it's got to stop because one, it's a superhero movie. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. You know, like I don't know why sometimes we always want to take like things that are fiction and make it into something serious, especially with a complex character like Batman. Sure, I mean, if we want to get into the whole the psychology of it, making it realistic, cool, got that. But as far as like with the gadgets and the weapons and the world that he lives in, no, there's nothing realistic about the world Batman lives in. I don't know why we got to pretend, why people want to go with the whole realism thing.
Well, that and even in the comics, they always talk about how Gotham is just worse than everything, and it's just like they always make it seem like Gotham is a real place in the world that is just pure hell, and there's no reason you would want to live there. That it's almost like California on steroids.
Or Detroit.
It's like if California and Detroit had a baby, and the baby did steroids.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it, unless it's the bus station in Total Recall, it can't get any more worse than that. Because, yeah, if you've seen Total Recall and you've seen that bus station, yeah, you can't get any more worse than that. Just saying. And then when I'm saying Detroit, I'm talking RoboCop Detroit, not modern day Detroit. I'm talking RoboCop Detroit.
Fun fact: the actor who played RoboCop has also voiced Batman.
Oh yeah, Peter Weller. Fuck yeah, yeah. He voiced him in The Dark Knight Returns. In fact, in my opinion, that was like probably one of my favorite voice actors that wasn't Kevin Conroy that voiced Batman.
And I want to know, man, like, cause for Frank Miller loves RoboCop because he's in. I think he's in one of the sequel movies. He gets killed in one of the sequel movies. He helped
Yeah,
write one of the sequel movies.
yeah. I was gonna say he helped write one of them.
He did comic books of it. He did crossover comic books of it, and it's like this guy really fucking loves RoboCop, and I just wish somebody would ask him why.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think the character sucks. I mean, I think RoboCop's badass, but that's a
But
good question.
yeah, like he loves him more than you should. Like all of us like RoboCop. All those things pretty cool. But this guy freaking loves him, and I'm like, tone it
And
down.
if you think that's crazy, you want to hear something really crazy that I heard years ago?
Hmm.
Somebody made this theory that RoboCop's story was, I guess it was a comparison, or it was like related to Jesus Christ, the story of Jesus Christ. I was like, wait, what? Like this dude straight up tried to really convince me of this shit, and I got halfway through what he was saying. I'm like, okay, bro, I can't do this shit. Just walked away.
And Jesus shotteth him in the dick.
That's what I was like, dude, wait, what the fuck are you even talking about? Where the comparison's not even there? What the fuck? Like, I wanted to know what the hell that dude was smoking or what he was drinking before he told me that story. Because whatever the fuck it was, I want some of that shit. That was like the most far fetched, out there fucking theory I've ever heard in my life, and I've heard some crazy conspiracy theories. Yeah, I remember I was in the military for 11 years, so I've heard some crazy conspiracy theories, and that by far took the cake. That any conspiracy that anybody can ever come up with, it does not top that one, and it never will. I'm sorry, that was the craziest fucking conspiracy theory I ever heard in my entire fucking life. Like the fuck, man. Oh my god. But on some real shit, I would like honestly, I don't know. I just think when it comes to this new DC universe, I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. You know, hopefully, it seems like it's starting out good, but hey, knock on wood.
Oh, hey man, I just thought of something I'd want to ask you because like, so the whole thing was supposed to be about you know people saying, oh, you must hate strong women, and it was kind of supposed to be like, no, we don't hate strong women. So
Yeah, because we don't.
here's the thing I just got to thinking of.
Oh, shoot.
Who are some female heroes, comic book or otherwise, doesn't matter, that you would like to see get more exposure?
That's a good one. For starters, I would definitely want to see Black Lightning's daughters, Thunder and Lightning, get more exposure. I
Mm.
would definitely love to see them get more screen time, in my opinion. You know, those I actually like those characters, especially Lightning, because I mean she's damn near at the same level of Black Lightning. The only issue she has is control, and it would be cool to kind of see like her get a grasp on controlling her powers. Let's see, another female character I'd love to see get more exposure. Are we talking comic book or like in live action?
Live action, comic book, literature,
Oh,
whatever the heck you want.
I would definitely want them to put Wonder Girl on the big screen. That's a character I would definitely love to see on big screen as Wonder Girl.
Which version?
Cassie.
I'm a Donna Troy guy, but
Oh no,
Donna
I
Troy's
like
gotten
Donna.
her.
Don't get
Donna
it fucked up.
Troy has gotten her due, though. I will say that.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna grade to say. I was gonna say, don't get it fucked up. I like Donna Troy. Fucking love Donna Troy, but Cassie has very little exposure. In fact, the only exposure she really has outside of the comic is Young Justice.
She was oh man, in the DC animated movie universe, she was mentioned, wasn't she?
I think I have to go back and watch it. I
Because
have to go. I got to
it
know
was
what you
the
mean.
episode with Kevin Smith, and he's interviewing at the very end. He's interviewing Garth. He's interviewing Beast Boy, and he goes, "What about your newest member?" And he goes, "Oh, her. She's a wonder." And then you see a blonde haired Wonder Girl flying through the sky,
I have to check that out.
and they never loop back around to it. It's just, and what's freaking weird, man, is 2 days ago I was thinking about that. I was like, they never did anything with that. They
That's
just
crazy. Man.
they teased it because like they teased. I remember they teased Steel for the longest, and I was so mad. I'm like, when are y'all gonna do something? I'm waiting. I'm waiting, and they finally gave it to me. I was like, ah, there it is.
Dude,
And I
speaking of,
never got that with Wonder Girl. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of Steel, I'm actually glad that Superman and Lois did Steel justice.
You know what's funny is like I know you're very disappointed that the show is going to end, but the fact that it's going to end is the very thing that's going to make me want to watch it because what I enjoy is they know it's going to end, so they're just going it's going to be a solid story. You know
Yeah,
what I
and but
mean?
here's yeah, but what's gonna suck is they cut out a lot of characters for the fourth season.
Oh, just to end it rapidly.
That and be in the budget.
Mm.
Yeah, it's the budget thing. Cause yeah, I was hoping they would have done a little bit more with Steel and Natalie, aka Natasha. She's really in the show. She's his daughter, but we all know in the comics.
Where'd you go?
Hello.
Are you back?
Yeah. Did I go out for a second?
You went out for about 30 seconds.
Oh wow, sorry about that.
It went into like, let me tell you about that.
Yeah, fucking weird, man. But yeah, like I was saying, man, when it came to freaking like the whole twist with Steel in the show was that he's actually from an alternate Earth.
Mm.
Because long story short, him and Lois were married. They had a daughter, and Superman kills. Pretty much, Superman goes evil and kills everyone on Earth. And Steel in that universe, even though he's a genius, he's also a soldier. And pretty much everybody on Earth got killed, and him and his daughter went through a wormhole that went to an alternate Earth. At first, he thought his daughter got lost somewhere in time, which she did because of the whole crisis shit. And then I guess when the universe got reborn, she ended up landing on the same Earth that Superman's on. And yeah, it's like I said, it takes a minute, but like I said, the show it picks up and it gets really good. Well, it's an interesting take, like rather than making Natasha his niece, that's his daughter instead. Which I think it works. It works for the show. But yeah, and then the third season was just fucking badass. I don't care what anybody says. That third season was badass.
Is that the one where he fights Doomsday?
Yeah, but even before he even fights Doomsday, there's like they don't even. It's just one of those things when he fights Doomsday, you don't even know it's gonna fucking happen. But it's one of those things. If you paid attention in the second season, they hint at it. They hint at something like that is gonna happen, and it doesn't pay off until the third season. But yeah, that fight was just fucking badass. And probably like, in my opinion, I feel like the VFX was better than anything Marvel's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I don't even want to get started with Marvel's VFX.
Oh man, I read something so stupid. Bob Iger says that the reason Marvel films aren't doing too well
Oh, I heard this. Go for it.
is that there aren't enough executives
I,
on
I was
set.
I was like, bro, no, he did not just say that.
I was like, dude, of all the things that need to be fixed, executive interference is
No,
the last.
that is not it. You just need better fucking writers.
People who care and know about the source material.
Right. You need to hire people that know what the fuck know the source material. You need to hire people that are actually fans of this shit, that are passionate about these movies and let them do it. Because these people you're hiring are just people that want a job and they want to push agenda. That's all it is. That's all you're hiring is activists and fucking people that want to brainwash the masses. That's all they want to do.
Oh, dude, and like the MCU, man, like people have been saying, "Oh, it's on the downslope for a long time," and I've been one of those guys being like, shut up, just wait and see, just wait and see." And now that I've waited and seen, I'm like, maybe those guys were right.
Dude, I've been calling that shit ever since fucking Endgame. I've been
And,
calling it since Endgame.
and I've been telling you you're wrong ever since Endgame, but here we are, and I'm
Yeah.
about to tell you, you know something? You know something? You might have been right.
See, if I had the freaking video to where it could say that you're right, I would have played it, but I don't have one. But yeah, I'm not gonna gloat like that. But on the real, but dude, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like when you start really paying attention to a lot of previous movies, and you notice like some of the changes that they made to a lot of characters, and it's like, okay, maybe it's a coincidence. Like maybe first couple times, coincidence, but when it's like damn near every single movie back to back to back to back, then you start to notice a pattern, and it's like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? You know? At that point, it's just like, okay, y'all either doing this on purpose, or either you're doing it on purpose, or you just have some people that just legit don't know the source material. Sure enough, it's a little of both.
Yeah.
Man, when you deliberately ignore the fans, especially with WandaVision. Don't get me wrong, I still like WandaVision. I thought it was good. But the fact that you had the perfect opportunity, the perfect window to introduce Mephisto, and rather than do that, you come up with some bullshit reason for how all this shit was happening.
See, and my issue isn't that they didn't introduce Mephisto. It's that the fact that when it comes to Mephisto, they kind of made it seem like, oh, I didn't even know who that was. And it's
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I was like, dude,
and
no.
I'm like, if you're not going to use him here because you're going to use him someplace else, that's cool.
But I heard where they're going to use Mephisto, and this is where you're going to be like, oh no, I'm definitely bowing out. You ready for this? You
Hold
ready
on, give
for
me,
it?
no, not yet, not yet. Let me give something out. All right, I
Just let me know when
whether
you're ready.
it's no, whether it's Johnny Blaze or whether it's Robbie Reyes, one of
No,
those
it's
two
not going to be any of the
guys,
Ghost Riders. No, it's not going to be any of the Ghost Riders. They're going to use it in the most unrelated fucking show ever. Get ready for it.
it better not have anything to do with that Iron whore.
Yep, it is. Yep. Let it sink in for a minute.
No,
Let it sink
no,
in.
no, no, I don't want it to sink in. I want
Let
that bitch
let
to
it
sink in
marinate.
the ocean.
Oh, let it marinate, because apparently that's what's been going around the grapevine, is that they're going to introduce Mephisto in Ironheart, and how they're going to do it is because of the character the Hood, which I like the character the Hood, but I just don't think the character. I don't know how the character relates to Ironheart in any way, shape, or form. But you know what? Hey, fuck it. At this point,
And see,
it's
that's one thing
it's
I've been
self
hearing is that
sabotage.
they're
Let them
trying
do it.
to. I've been hearing that they're trying to attach this popular villain to a less popular hero to make sure that, like, in the hopes that his fan attachment will keep her afloat.
It's
Dude. And here's the thing, and like, one of my friends is like mad at me right now because I will not watch Rick and Morty. Like,
hey, that's your choice, bro.
and to me, like, if it's I even told him the other day, I'm like, I would love to find out tomorrow that Justin Roiland really is a pervert and all these terrible things are true, so I can go back to enjoying my cartoon. I would love it. But until there's proof, all I see is an innocent man accused on some bullshit. And it's like, to me, it's like I don't want to support this. I don't want to be okay. I didn't want to watch the Harry Potter movie without Johnny Depp. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, dude, I just don't want to do shit like that. And
yeah. No,
fuck
that's
yeah,
fair. That's
and
fair. 'Cause, again, I never even bothered watching the new season of Rick and Morty. I don't think I'm going to.
it was just like, but yeah, it's like there are times when I feel like, oh, I wish these things could be so that I could enjoy my thing because I want to enjoy my bullshit. But I
Yeah,
also feel like scruples are a thing. Like, when it comes to Aquaman 2, I would encourage you to wait for it to be on streaming. That would be me. Because at the end of the day, you're still paying film, money for a thing. But at the same time, I'm not gonna stop being friends with you over it.
who said I'm paying for it?
Like, I got the perfect illegal streaming site. It's called blah 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 at
Right,
x.com.
right, exactly. I'm not even gonna say all that. I'm just saying who says I'm paying for it? Who says I'm paying for that shit? What the hell?
I'm not
I have
paying for
my
something when I can tell you how it ends.
I have my unconventional ways of how I watch shit. You know? And I still have not watched the Marvels, and I don't think I plan on it anytime soon.
That's the one I wish I could have gone to the theater to see, but it was like my wife and my schedules just don't match up, and it just became too inconvenient. But like, dude, I wanted so bad to see that some bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
I don't care. I know it stars Brie Larson, but you know what? I can ignore her.
oh, I don't care for the whole thing. I just think motherfuckers that are on that whole it's got Brie Larson. No motherfuckers are just weird. Like me personally, like it's just one of those things. I don't necessarily understand too much of the hate behind Brie Larson. I don't care. Not my problem. Because y'all don't like an actor or actress is not going to stop me from watching a movie. You know what I mean? I just think some people. I mean, I just think when some people are like on that whole, oh, you shouldn't watch this movie because it's got this. Whatever. It is what it is. You know, I'm not going to tell somebody not to watch something like that. If they want to watch it, hey, they want to watch it. It's not my problem.
Well, I will say, like, when it comes to Brie Larson, a lot of the thing is like she's one of those people whose opinions are like past the line of sensibility. They're trying to be forward thinking, but they always pass the line between like progressivism and wokeism. And
I got it.
and so she's one of those people who like she, she is as perfect a casting as Robert Downey Jr. is. So like however annoying you think Carol Danvers is exactly how annoying Brie Larson is.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And that's, what makes this worse too is Carol Danvers wasn't always an annoying character. She actually was a very badass character. And some people find that hard to believe. Like Carol Danvers was a badass character, you know? At
Oh
one
yeah,
point she
there were people who were mad. Like when Rogue, like nowadays, everybody's like, no, fuck her. Let Rogue take her powers and let it be Rogue. But back in the day, when Rogue took her powers, people were pissed at Rogue.
Oh yeah. Exactly. I was gonna say that. Motherfuckers were pissed when Rogue took her powers. Now everybody's like, you know what? We're reneging on that shit. Rogue, take her fucking powers. Take this bitch's fucking powers. Like that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening right now. Is motherfuckers are just like, nah, we reneging on this shit. Rogue, take them powers back. But that's exactly what's happening now with this shit. And you know what? I low key kind of agree with that just a little bit. I low key agree a little bit on that. It is not me trying to be an asshole. It's just at this point, the writers have done nothing to make the character likable. They've done absolutely nothing to make the character relatable, likable. So I mean, at this point, Rogue's sicker.
Yeah, and I feel like, and that's the thing. I feel both Carol Danvers and Ironheart kind of have the same thing, where it's like the only thing that really keeps them going is the fact that the company insists on pushing it, and there's this small group of people who feel like they're doing the right thing by supporting this. Like, oh, you don't support somebody because they're blah blah blah. Well, I'm a good person, so I'm going to support them. And it's like the part you're not understanding is their their ethnicity, whatever it is. Like none of that matters to us. They
Yeah,
just suck. They
yeah,
just
and
suck.
Elon Musk said it best when he talked about why he doesn't fuck with Disney. Is that you have a company that's doing good things, but with evil that want to be good people by doing evil shit. You know, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Is you got people they want the perception of doing good shit, but in reality, all you're doing is you're doing more harm for what? You're doing more harm in what? For the sake of saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm doing good shit. Ooh, look at me, I'm outside." Shut the fuck up.
Right. I like to refer to that as that white people shit.
Yes.
That's that white
Agreed.
people shit. And
Yep.
it's just like there are a lot of people out there who, yeah, they like to talk a big game and feel like they're doing something. Like, oh man, I had somebody get mad at me because, and maybe some people here will get mad at me. I don't give a fuck that Shannon Doherty is dying of cancer. I don't give a shit that Bruce Willis doesn't know who he is anymore. I did not give a shit that Dustin Diamond died of cancer. I'm like, dude, if you spend your whole life being a shitty person and something bad finally happens to you, I don't care. I'm not going to sit here and like dance on your grave or anything. But
Yeah.
just because cancer is really bad, and it is, doesn't mean I'm going to treat you, a shitty person, any differently because you have cancer.
Right.
And I feel like that's something that happens a lot. I'm like, dude, if you're a shitty person and bad things happen to you,
That's
fuck you.
karma. That's
And
just fucking karma at the end of the day. And you know
right.
what? I agree with that sentiment 100%. Like
And
just because you're dying of something or you have like a disease does not mean I'm gonna feel bad for you because I don't. You
dude, I
know?
I worked with the lady. She was such an awful, annoying person. And like I don't remember what she did to work me up one day, but like I was telling her something because like what she liked to do is anytime the manager wasn't there, she would screw around for 20, 30 minutes before she would clock out, right? And the thing about it is, if you're a hard worker and you do that, I don't care. But when
Right.
you're the worst worker in the building and you're trying to milk it, it's like, lady, you already didn't earn this money. Get the hell out of here.
Dude, I've worked with
And
plenty of people like that.
and I told her something, and like my boss was my aunt, right? So I was like, "Hey, you need to clock out. You need to quit doing this." And she starts telling me something. Like she starts getting all worked up. She said, "You think it's your family? You can tell me something." And the next day, she didn't make eye contact with me because turns out, yes, as it turns out, I do have the authority to tell you something. But she gets in my face, she starts going blah blah blah, just yatter and yatter, and I looked at her and I said, "Every day I see you, I root for the cancer," because
Damn.
she was fighting cancer at the time. I say at the time because she's dead now, but at the
Yeah.
time, and I was like, there are some people, man, and I remember one of my friends. He had his music on, dude, and it was at a reasonable hour, dude. It was like 4 or 5 in the evening. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
sitting out there, we're barbecuing. He's got his hip hop, and this fucking, white guy. He comes out angry, blah blah blah. Your music, blah 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 blah. And he tells him, he's like, "I'm not the reason you're fucking dying of cancer. I'm in my right to play this at this time of day. You need to go away. And people were looking at him like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, no, man. He ate chewing tobacco his whole life. He's the reason his jaw is falling off.
That is
And
true.
I'm sorry
That
he's in
is true.
pain.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry he's in pain, but at the end of the day, he's the reason he's in pain. And it's like him choosing to be mad at me because he can hear my music. It's like, dude, turn your TV up a little bit. It's 4 in the afternoon.
Right.
And like, yeah, like I said, I remember everybody being mad at him, but I was like, no, dude, like it wasn't 9 at night. It wasn't 8 at night. It wasn't even at night. It's like, bro, you did this to you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one thing if just out of nowhere you end up getting breast cancer or something like that. That's one thing. But not something like that. You did that to your damn self. So no, I don't feel bad.
Yeah, I'll tell you the person I feel fucking awful for is Christina Applegate. She got breast cancer.
Yeah, I felt bad for her.
She said, "Fuck this. Get rid of this breast cancer. Cut these titties off. I don't need them."
Yeah.
And that's brave. Can you imagine as a man being, "Fuck these testicles. Cut them off. I don't need them." I ain't saying that shit. Like, doc,
No.
can you save 40% of that testy, doc? Can you just give me a test? That's all I need.
Yeah, give me at least just give me just a little snip, just a little snip of it. That's all I need, just a little snip, just a little bit, so I can keep it in a jar and I'm good. That's all I need, doc.
And versus her, she's like, no, cut these bitches off. Give me some fake ones. I don't care. And
Yeah,
Doc's like, all right, girl, I got you. 3 years later, you got the MS. Can you
yeah.
cut the spine out and give me a new one? Sorry, no.
Nah, that ain't how that works.
And I will say though, man, she's apparently she's still because they're gonna do a Married with Children cartoon. She's still involved.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
She because what she said is, I will never act in front of a camera again.
Yeah,
She still has full intention of being a voice actor. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, we still get you. Like, we still get, you know, we still get a little more of her because, like, she's so damn funny, so much
oh,
good. And when you consider her upbringing, like, she went from being like a kid to a sex icon from like one season to the next,
yeah,
and she didn't become weird, didn't start doing drugs. Like, she just stayed a regular actor. And I'm like, dude, you can be a child actor and not be fucked up. All that requires is that, you got a family that supports you. And I mean, that's mostly it. I think the only exception is like the Jake Lloyd thing. Um, I don't even know how the fuck that happened, but like the actor who played Kid Anakin, he's a paranoid schizophrenic these days,
yeah.
in
Heard
and
about
out of in and out of trouble with the law, and a lot of it because he was bullied so relentlessly as a kid for being Anakin in the
that. Yeah,
movies, and it was like it was bullied by his of the other kids, and I'm like, dude, I remember watching those movies as a kid, and like
yeah,
all these problems I saw later as an adult, I didn't see them as a kid. I just thought this is Star Wars, this is the greatest. Like, I would never think to be mean to the fucking kid. Like, to me, I'd want to be his best friend. And
right.
all I
Like
could
what?
all
Yeah,
I could think is that's the parents. The parents, oh, that's so terrible. It's the worst movie ever. And like they're whispering in their kids' ears, and the kids went to be mean to the
yep.
kid.
That's exactly what the fuck that shit was. That is exactly what that is. Like, come on.
Because
You
yeah,
think they're gonna say like Star Wars is a shit movie? No, because when we're kids, we're not even conceptualizing shit like that with movies. When you put something in there in front of us, and it just looks, and it just again, we're not paying attention to the story. We're just looking at the fucking characters. The character looks badass. We're gonna get drawn into it as kids. You know, we're gonna be like, oh, this was like the best fucking movie ever. Like, and I'll give you an example. Batman and Robin. I actually think that was one of the greatest fucking Batman movies ever fucking made. And as I got older and I went and watched it again, I'm like, oh my god, this movie was fucking god awful.
oh, dude, there's so many movies. Masters of the Universe. Like, to this day, I get mad at people who try to talk trash about that movie because I'm like, It was okay. Was it what you thought it was going to be? Maybe not, but like, and especially when I watched the Netflix thing, because like they did a short interview with the the actor who played He-Man, and but you could kind of tell that they paid for it at a Comic-Con. It was a very quick event, and he got real defensive about the questions. I'm like, dude, if you had talked to this guy the right way, you probably would have gotten a better, longer interview
Yeah.
than being a d-bag about it. And it's like, but also there's a lot of movies like the original Mario Brothers movie. I watch that every probably 5-6 years. I
Yeah.
enjoy that movie, and there's something about bad movies that are good sometimes, that
Yeah, I
they
even
have
go back
their
and watch
own
Double
point.
Dragon. Yeah, I even go back and watch Double Dragon every once in a while when that's on, and that movie was fucking atrocious.
Oh, and oh man, last time I watched Double Dragon, it was very funny because I was about to start Twisted Metal, right?
Yeah.
And it was around the time my wife was like, "Hey, so are you finally over your bullshit and ready to watch the Mario Brothers movie?" I was like, "Yeah, it's time." Uh, and I watched it with her, and they had a joke about the original Jumpman video game in the background.
Oh god.
And then in Twisted Metal, when he's driving in the first episode, you see the thing of Twisted Metal land on the windshield.
Yep, I remember that.
And I remember seeing that, and then I watched Double Dragon. I'm like, these motherfuckers started it because
Yes, they did.
there's one scene where they're standing there, and in the background is the Double
I'm
Dragons
Dragon
2
Arcade.
arcade game.
Yep. It's right before they get the coins and they put the coins together and get the fucking superpowers. I remember that part. That was probably one of my. In fact, dude, I pointed that. That was like I pointed that out the first time I watched the movie. Like I was like, yo, bro, look," and he was like, "Oh shit." I showed it to my little brother when we were watching it. Dude, that shit was crazy. But yeah, they were the first ones that did that shit. Very first ones that did that shit. It's crazy. And fuck. Oh, and then another movie that was like a horrible freaking movie that was really shitty now. And the only thing that saves the movie that makes it watchable is because of one actor, and it's Street Fighter.
And the one actor is going to be the one who played Gomez.
Yep, the great Raul Julia. That dude was fuck. Dude, his performance as Bison is what made the movie watchable. I'm sorry, but his performance as Bison made the movie watchable. Especially that one line when he was like, when Chun-Li's like, "You killed my father," and he was like, the day and Bison's presence came to your town was probably one of the most impactful days of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday." But he said that shit, I was like, damn.
Cold blooded.
That's some cold blooded shit. Like I was just like, bro, it's like, when Dave Chappelle was fucking Rick James, that shit was cold blooded. That's the best way to describe that. Because I was just like, oh no, how did he not? I'm like, damn, I would have slapped the shit out of him the minute he said that shit.
Dude, what I would hear, like, I don't know, but apparently a lot of the reason some of that movie was so fucked up is that Jean-Claude Van Damme had a coke problem at the time.
Yep, he was on set coked up like a motherfucker.
And what really surprises me is when you think of drug addicts, you don't think of people who are very health conscious. And he was a very health conscious person, but I guess because the time it was, people didn't realize how bad this is for your health.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, when I heard that, I was a little shocked. I was like, really, this guy who prides himself on his physique and is this, and he's doing these things that are bad for him, and it's just like, yeah, apparently.
Yeah, and it's crazy. You would think with his wife being a former pro bodybuilder, you would have thought, oh man, she would have at least told not to be on that shit. But at one point, she did leave his ass while he was fucked up on that shit. I do remember that, hearing that his wife left him at one point, and then they reconciled, like I think a few years later. But yeah, it's crazy. Like that dude had a straight up coke problem. In fact, I think at one point he got arrested. He got arrested for possession and being under the influence. If I'm not mistaken.
I remember hearing one story about him because he's one of those guys that you hear stories about, and apparently he's not the tough guy that he seems. That he got the shit beat out of him by a bodyguard one night. That
Oh,
he had hired somebody to be his bodyguard, and he pissed the guy off, and the guy beat the shit out of him.
oh, that
Um,
don't surprise me.
but uh,
Yeah.
the way I understand it is like he's one of those guys who practiced martial arts to stay fit, but he didn't actually get in an arena or a ring, or he didn't really even spar that much.
Actually, he did do some kickboxing. He actually does have a record, like kickboxing record, where it's actually recorded like in the 80s. There's actually records of that.
Is there any footage?
I wish there was footage. You also got to remember this was like the 80s, dude.
I mean, I have to say, yeah,
Yeah,
because yeah, like the way I hear it is, you know, at least when he was older, he was a lot of talk, not a lot of walk.
yeah,
Almost
no,
like,
that's true. That's true.
who's the fucker, the piece of shit? I love him. I loved him, but now I
Well,
hate him.
Seagal.
Steven Seagal. Thank you. You know.
Yep, I know all about that shit. Trust me, I know all about that. In fact, Michael Jai White, I remember him doing an interview and he was talking about on the set, I forgot which movie it was. I think it was Exit Wounds. He literally was gonna beat the fuck out of Steven Seagal. Because that dude was doing a lot of fucking talking out the side of his fucking neck, and he was about to beat the fuck out the dude. See, I remember that. I remember all that a little too well.
Yeah, and see, well, Seagal is one of those guys. Like, if you watch some of his early movies and you really look at that mother, it's like, dude, I think he would f me up. I think he would f a few dudes up. But there comes a point in his career where, like, and there are some guys who they get fat and they put on weight, but you can still see that they do what they do. You can still
Case in
see
point, Samuel. Go ahead.
exactly. And it's like there are some guys that like they put on some weight, but they still got that thick neck. They still got them hands. They still got them fat, mitts, just swollen up hands all the time. It's like these guys still got it.
Case in
Uh,
point, Sammo Hung.
and yeah, dude, it was. But then there's then there's guys like Seagal where it's like it seems like he stopped doing it after a certain point, but refused to acknowledge that he didn't have it anymore.
Yeah, that's like one of those dudes. Like his accountability is his kryptonite. Like he's been called out numerous times, just on just the whole thing with him, with just the validity of his martial arts, and if he even was like a black belt in Aikido and stuff. Because I remember seeing like some like a demonstration footage. Like I was just looking at this shit. I was like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? And are you sure this dude really is an Aikido master?" Because I've seen some dudes do Aikido and fuck some people up, but like, nah, he was just tossing this dude around. Like he was literally just kind of low key tossing the dude across the mat. Like it looked like it was staged too. If you like see how the dude was falling and shit, it looked staged.
Yeah, it looked WWE like, and not even WWE. It looked like low quality pro wrestling.
Might as well have. It might as well have been just very low quality wrestling. Low quality
Just
like pro wrestling. It was bad.
I've
To
seen
the,
shit where like they'll do little hit things and he does like these little like twists and turns to kind of
yep.
like redo it,
Mhm.
but it seems so fucking worked out in advance. You know what
Yep.
I mean? And I'm like, dude, this is clearly an act. You're playing patty cake. You're not doing anything.
Yeah. So that's why like Seagal's like one of those dudes like I just don't have any respect for him, never have. I've always thought the dude was a douchebag. He was a pompous. He's an ass.
See, I used to love him, man. Like there are some movies that like probably once he's dead and like I've had time, I am gonna watch again. Like March for Death, Out for Justice, Above the Law. Those
Yeah,
are some great fucking movies, dude. And like I loved him in those, but it's like as time went on, with the respect I had as I started to see who he was, I was like, okay, there goes my respect. As like I started to see his martial arts shit just like I feel like he had it once, but then he didn't have it, and maybe that's the same for Jean Claude Van Damme, where it's like he had it once, and then I think once he went Hollywood, he didn't need to have it anymore.
But I'll say this much: the dude still does his own shit. That's the one thing I will always give him credit for, is a lot of his own like stunts and shit. In most of his movies, he does his own shit. Not all of his movies.
Right, but at the same, I will, counter that with saying none of his stunts are quite as elaborate as like a Jackie Chan stunt.
Oh no, they'll never be on that level, bro. Never. They
And
will
it's
never be
just,
on a level of Tony Jaa, Jackie Chan. No, they'll never be on that level ever.
and it's one of those things where it's like there are certain, uh, like I think Brie Larson got herself into a little bit of heat when she went on and said that she did her own stunts,
Uh,
and but when like it was like one of those things where it's technically speaking because I did this and I did that, and like I think you can do your own stunts, but at the same time you still have a whole stunt crew. Like you
yeah.
have somebody who runs that thing through for you 29 times before you
Yep.
do it the one time. And it's like when you say do your own stunts, everybody thinks Jackie Chan. You just go out there and fucking do it. And it's like doing your own stunts and being filmed doing your stunts are kind of a different thing. And I think that there are probably some actors who can who have like really dedicated safety crews who teach them, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, here's how you make this stunt safe, and that safety crew doesn't always get the credit they deserve.
Yeah. And the one thing I can say is this: Tom Cruise gives, like, even though Tom Cruise literally does all of his own stunts in all his movies, he still gives the safety crew credit. Not excusing the dude, because I still think the motherfucker needs to go see a
Crazy.
psychiatrist. He needs to go see a fucking doctor. He needs to go see a doctor.
And dude, he's been crazy since we were in high school, and he's just still going. He's like the Energizer Bunny, but crazy.
Yes, pretty much. Like, don't feed this dude after midnight. Don't feed him after midnight. Because we all know what'll happen if you feed him after midnight.
Oh man, can I get a little conspiracy theorist just for a moment? I won't do too much of it.
Go for it. Shoot.
I've seen and read little things about how like Travolta and Tom Cruise are slowly backing away from Scientology. They're not doing it real big, but they're kind of backing up. And it's like I noticed they're backing up ever since what happened to Danny Masterson.
Oh, really?
And again, yeah, total conspiracy, man. But it's like there's two ways to look at this, right? Either Masterson ran afoul, like let's say he was innocent, but he pissed off the Scientology people, so they said, "All right, go say this against him," right? And so now he's destroyed,
Pretty much.
or he's guilty, and the people, because like to me, even let's say he's probably guilty. If he's guilty, his sentence was a lot heavier than it probably compared to other people, man. And that's the part that I think is weird. Is like I think that there's something to do with either the Church of Scientology. I feel like it's maybe weakening a little bit, and like when they sentenced Masterson, this was them saying you're no longer protected. You used to be protected, but now you're no longer protected. Yoki, you used to be able to get away with this. Now you do the maximum fucking sentence. And these other people who are seeing that are like, you know what? Now that I'm not protected, I don't want to be here no more.
You know what? And it's a plausible theory, and I say that because have you noticed how a good amount of people that are being exposed now in some weird shape or weird shape form were part of Scientology? Like, I mean, we look at Will Smith as a prime example. Like, this dude was part of Scientology at one point, and now all his shit is getting put out there. Yeah, same with Jada. All her shit's getting put out there. Like, why is it that now it's getting put out there? Yeah, no, that's what we use as an example. Tom Cruise also. You know, it's just something about it. It's like it's a plausible theory, dude. I hate to say it, but it's plausible.
But yeah,
You
like
know?
I would like to think that the Scientology church is finally weakening. You know what
Oh,
I mean? I would love to see that finally be the thing that it's shaking and that like it's just going to crumble within the next 4 or 5 years. I'd love to see that. And but at this point, the way I think I've told you this before is like I look at conspiracy theories like I look at Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
oh my god.
It's like the way I see it is this: without proof, it's just a good story,
Yep.
and what is it? Just because the pieces fit doesn't mean it's true, and without proof, it's just a good story.
Yeah, true. Because again, it's not what you know; it's what you can prove.
Right. And so it's like you're looking at what I'm saying, and it's like, yes, the pieces fit, but
But
just because the pieces fit doesn't mean it's true. So, like,
exactly, exactly. That's why I said what I said. Like it makes sense. It does make sense because of how just how everything seems like it fits together. But I mean, we have no way to actually prove it. That's the shitty part about this.
and see, with conspiracy theories, I'm the kind of guy, I don't believe them, but I keep an eye out for them.
Oh, I do too.
And that's my thing is like, once you throw something out there, I'll like, all right, that might be bullshit, but it might be true. Let's wait and see. And that's the way I think we would all do better if we kind of like we took these things, ooh, this is good, this could be true, but let me hold on to it until I know it's true.
Oh, that's what I try to do with a lot of shit. And I've already given a couple examples when I do that with the whole the Juicy Smouye shit. I'm gonna be honest about that. I'll be honest. I didn't jump on the bandwagon right away and be like, "Oh, I believe this dude." No, I had to wait and see because something about how he was telling that story, son, didn't add up. It's just something about his story did not add up. So I was like, you know what? Let me just sit back and let's see what happens. You know? And that's what I did. I sat back, I waited. Sure enough, it got exposed this motherfucker was lying. You know? And then there was like a freaking a basketball player that got accused of some shit. Oh, it was like a basketball player or something. I can't remember what it was. But some chick tried to say that this basketball player raped her, and he had never met this chick before. I forgot who it was.
I
But
feel like I heard about that.
yeah, I heard it, but when the story comes back to me, I'll get back on it. I'll remember it. But yeah, that's why I was like, nah, I'm not that type where I believe shit at face value. And my girl will even tell you that. She'll even tell you I don't believe a bunch of shit at face value. I wait and see what the fuck is going on because there could be something that's happening that we don't fucking know.
Oh man, I can give you two examples. One is the more recent what is it, Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Oh, I didn't know nothing about that. What happened with that? I'm curious about that real quick.
So apparently, one of his staffers came in saying that he sometimes comes into work rather erratic, and that he can be making stressful environment, and that there's apparently a room where people go to hide to get their emotions together or whatever. And wait, Jimmy Kimmel? No, not Kimmel. The other one. Who's the other Jimmy?
Jimmy Fallon?
Fallon. That they're saying this about little tweaky ass Fallon. And the whole time I'm hearing this, I'm like, first of all, nothing you described sounds that bad. Like I've been yelled at and cussed at by bosses, but your boss comes in a little erratic. He comes in moody sometimes. We're all moody, man.
I'm like, that's called being a human being. What the fuck?
And then he's got the stress of all of your jobs on his shoulders. If he's not funny, if people turn against him, all of you are fired.
Right, like the fuck? And I'm not even. And I don't even like Jimmy. I don't even like Jimmy Fallon.
I don't like him either.
That's the sad part. I don't even like this fucking dude. I'm kind of siding with him on that. Like, I don't even like that pencil neck looking motherfucker.
the only people who were like on that I saw on the internet who believed it were like extremists, people on the far right who were mad because he told mean jokes against the orange man they worship, and people on the far left who just want to cancel any and everybody they can because being able to say you're bad somehow means I'm good, therefore I'm a good person because you're a bad person.
And that's
And
why I get freaking tired. Oh, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
but yeah, dude, like when like there were staffers who were coming to his aid saying, no, no, he's awesome. What are you talking about? There were like there was one incident that was talked about with Jerry Seinfeld, and they're like, this happened and that happened. It was so awful, and Jerry was like, that's not how it happened. It was a very normal thing. It was playful. It was not a big deal. And he's just like, this is a complete gross misinterpretation of what happened. And and it was just like one of those things where it's like I automatically did not believe that shit, but here's where I'm gonna get a little out there. I'm not 100% sure I believe what they said about Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, dude, you know what? I'm kind of the same way too. Because even I was just like, I think some people were kind of blowing that out of proportion, but whatever. Like that's how I looked at it. I was like, I'm not 100% on board with it, because anybody can make up a fucking story.
Well, then, like, I remember thinking to myself, like, if the people who are complaining, right, I feel like to me they seem like young, fresh out of college. They have really bright-eyed ideals of how shit's supposed to happen. And I'm like, dude, if you had had a bunch of old, fat, plumber crack teamsters, would this have ever been a problem?
Right.
And it's like, and the thing is, I will say, I could be wrong about this. She could really totally be a bitch, and maybe they were right. But I'm like, I haven't yet to see anything that to me supports that enough to where I'm like, yeah, fuck her, throw her under the bridge, fuck it. I'm like, no, dude, it seems to me like she wanted professionalism out of her people, and that her people expected to be treated like the guest, but you're not the guest.
Right.
You're the guy whose job it is to make sure the guest feels like a guest.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And I don't know, man. I just think at the end of the day, it just gets to a point where it's like I've said a long time ago, man. It's like you give people an inch where they want to do, take a whole fucking mile. At least that's what I'm getting off of this. Is that at one point, Ellen was probably, trying
How
to treat people like actual fucking people. What the fuck? Why am I getting feedback? Weird.
I don't know, but I will say this: I do think James Corden, the way people talk about him, I feel like that's probably true
Yeah.
because he's been banned from like whole restaurants. The guy who makes all the money off the restaurant came in and said, "You can't be in my restaurant anymore. The money I make from you is not worth the abuse you put my people through."
Yeah.
Like that's happened. And so it's like after all the fucking accusations for somebody to say your money is no longer valuable here, I'm like, I believe that.
Yeah. It's
But
crazy.
but it's like most of the evidence I saw against Ellen is like she was a bitch to one person who stole a bag one time, which wasn't cool the way she handled it, but it doesn't make her a fucking ice queen either.
Agreed. Hold on one second. I think I know what it is. Hang on. How's that better?
Yeah.
Am I still echoing?
No, no, you're good.
Yeah, because I hear echoing on my end, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Oh, but yeah, I don't know. It is probably just one person bitching about it. That's how I'm hearing it.
Dude, I want to see where they're at now. I would love for somebody to do a film going and following up on her entire staff, her crew. Where are they now? And it's like, how do you get a job in that field of work after you're the one who got your last boss fired? Who's
I
gonna
don't
hire?
know, but you gotta remember,
Who's
we
gonna?
live in an age of
Oh,
sophisticated trophies.
all right, there's a lot of echo that time.
Yeah, I don't know. Something weird's going on with my audio. Give me a minute. Let me focus my audio. So keep talking to me.
Oh, but yeah, dude, I just don't like. You're the guy. You're doing the interview. Oh, so you have 7 years of experience. That's excellent. How'd you lose your last job? Oh, that bitch was fired. What? 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 Who? Ellen. She was so mean to me.
Sure.
Oh. It's like, and then it very quickly becomes you're the right person for the job. To don't call us, we'll call you.
That's crazy.
And like I just may, and like I said, maybe I'm wrong, but that's why I want to know. Sometimes I don't want to theorize. I just, even if I'm wrong, I'd want to know. And like I want somebody to go out and ask all these people who used to work for Ellen, was it worth it?
Probably
Where are you
wouldn't.
working now? How much money are you making now? Are you in the same field you wanted to be in? And was it worth it? Because me, if I'm in Hollywood and the person who applies used to work at Ellen, I'm not hiring them.
I'm not even gonna talk that. Don't need the headache.
Right? I feel like most people are going to be in that same headspace. So I'm like, man, like, did you really help yourself doing this? And like I said, I could be wrong. Maybe Ellen really was a terrible person. It could have happened, but I haven't seen enough to say that. I just feel like that's the thing people want you to say. Because that's we all agree on whatever. I'm like, I don't agree. I didn't vote.
Again, we're always, but again, it's everybody has that. If you're not with me, you're against me mentality too. So that's another thing I think should be to it too.
Which there comes a point where it's like if you're so far away from me, yeah, you're kind of against me. But if you're in a certain gray zone, you're in the gray zone. Leave it alone. Even we had border states in the damn Civil War.
Yep.
There's allowed to be a border.
Yeah. I know, man. But anyway,
I know we're close to wrapping this up, but I want to say one. I want to put one opinion out there that's probably not woke.
isn't that an unpopular opinion?
I think it's a popular opinion that nobody wants to look at.
I'll go for it.
And it's not a comic book thing. It's a political thing. How everybody's talking about, oh, Joe Biden. Can you believe he's running again? I'm like, all right, he's not going to win the primary, so it doesn't matter. Like he's going to be the first incumbent president in all of history to not get the nomination. It's going to be funny. Who cares? But here's what I want to happen. Here's what I want him to die. Like of a heart attack, like him go overseas and the airplane ride fuck with his heart. He get heart attack, he dies. Kamala takes over, and she runs for president. And then I want to wait and see as America as a whole rejects her. Like first female president, 3-month reign.
Oh god. I'm not even. I don't even know how to respond to that. What the fuck? I don't even know how to respond to that, man.
These are the evil things I think of when I'm at work.
Mother of Christ! I don't even know how to respond to that, man. That's just wow. That's wild, bro. I'm not saying I disagree with you, but bro, that's wild.
That's petty, is what it is.
That too. But yeah, definitely gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I mean, oh my gosh, shut the fuck up, Clark. Shut the fuck up. What the fuck? Oh man, I hate you guys. I hate both y'all motherfuckers. I hate y'all right now.
I didn't hate myself at the onset of this, but after reading this dude's comment, I'm like, yeah, now I hate myself.
Yeah, it's actually my brother. I fucking hate y'all motherfuckers. I fucking hate you guys. But hey, it is what it is, man. But hey, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and wrap this one up and end it on a high note with that one, man. That being said, let me go ahead and wrap this shit up. It's good, great talk, great convo. Definitely appreciate you coming by as usual. Always, I'll probably try to do another one next week. I'll figure out what topic I'm gonna do with that one. It'll probably come to me by Wednesday. But the next one is sorry. But anyway, this is your boy Dark Car, and appreciate everybody coming through. And I'm gonna end this one with. I'll probably let Bane end this one for me, man. So next one, y'all have a good one. Peace.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding.